Hey hikers, it's Lee with Trailside Fitness. Today we're going to discuss the top 5 exercises that go beyond the basics to make sure that you've got some variety and that you're also ready for your hike. Stay tuned. So a quick note on good exercises versus bad exercises. And I've kind of mentioned this before. There really is no good versus bad exercise, just ones that help you reach your goal and ones that don't. So for example, you might really enjoy running, and that's great. It's going to strengthen the tendons, the ligaments, they're going to make your bones a little bit more sturdy, but the risk of injury while running is a little bit higher than other activities. Your muscles are going to be asked to work in a different way in running than they are with walking or hiking, so the direct carryover isn't really there. It's not to say that exercise is bad or a waste of time, it just might not benefit you as much as some other exercises. Sometimes we do have to account for the fun factor, so just what exercises do you like to do, and make sure we mix those in so that you're getting the variety that you need and not feeling like you're just stuck doing the same thing from time to time. So keep that in mind as we move forward with these next 5 exercises. So one great exercise option is something called the Landmine, and it just uses this really simple device. A barbell sticks in one end, and then you just anchor it with some weight plates on the other end. These are pretty common and easy to find in gyms nowadays. So we'll slide this in. And now we're set up to do lots of different presses and rows and core exercises. These are super handy, and it's going to be a focus for some of our next 3 exercises. Okie doke, so we're looking at the Landmine row and the setup and the benefits for it. The setup for the Landmine row is similar to a deadlift. So it's a standard hip hinged position. Hips move back, shins are vertical, gaze is looking forward. Ways that people often compensate in this movement are losing the rigidity in their core, so they kind of round their back a little bit, stay nice and stiff, and also by rotating too much during the movement. Your body is basically super solid during this one. The only thing that moves is your arm. But the Landmine row is an awesome exercise for shoulders, back, and what we call the lumbo-pelvic region. So kind of your hip and low back area. You also get an amazing isometric contraction for the quads, the hamstrings, and those muscles in the low back. So this exercise is great for hikers because it targets a lot of those muscles that we need to carry a big pack for long miles. So now we're going to take a look at the Landmine single arm press. So this one is great for shoulders and core, which again are really going to benefit hikers who need to carry a heavy pack. There's a few ways to modify this one. One of them is being in a half kneeling position, so one knee down, versus a full kneel position, which is also great, which is both knees down. Setup for this one, you want to make sure and keep your core nice and tight. The opposite foot from the hand you're pressing with goes forward, and you use your shoulder and arm to just press that barbell forward. The barbell torque is another exercise I like. This one is great for building core strength. It's an anti-rotation movement, so basically you're going to keep your core nice and stable, trunk facing forward, arms are straight, and you're just going to work side to side moving that barbell. You're going to feel it work in your abs, your low back, your core. This one is a really great one to target some spine-specific strength just for hikers. Common faults for the barbell torque are not keeping your arms straight and over-rotating the trunk. So make sure and keep an eye on those 2 things. The Landmine is also excellent for doing exercises like single leg deadlifts, squats, reverse lunges, or just deadlifts. So play around with it a little bit. Just know that it's a great tool you can mix into some of your other exercises if you just feel like you need a little bit of variety. It's not going to set you back at all, and it does kind of add an element of excitement and newness, which is important in a long training program. Another exercise that I really like is called the Pallof press. This is an anti-rotation exercise for your spine, so it provides a lot of strength to the muscles that give you some support and structure in your back. This one's super simple. We'll do it 2 different ways, one as a hold and one as a press. Wrapping up this series of 5 exercises that go beyond the basics, this one makes for a great finisher and has lots of benefits outside of hiking as well as for hikers. This one is the farmer carry. Form for the farmer carry is pretty simple. You want to make sure your shoulder is back and down. And that's the stable position for the shoulder. That's all we've got to think about here. Actually, that's not true. The other thing you want to make sure is that you don't lean too far to one side. You really want to fight that weight and stay as upright as possible. So here, you're going to grab a weight in one hand or both hands and take that weight for a walk. 30 to 50 feet is a good measure to start with. You want the weight to be slightly heavy as well. This exercise is great at strengthening the muscles of the trunk and the core, and it's also a great way to target some of the hip-specific muscles. This is going to come in especially for hikers when you're hiking uphill, downhill, crossing logs, river crossings, anywhere where you're on one foot and trying to do some balancy type stuff. This is going to be a huge exercise to help you out there. I also recently just put out a video on the sled pushes and pulls. That's another great exercise you can work in. Again, great benefits there for the hips, the low back, the core, all those areas that hikers really need to make sure are nice and strong for carrying the pack. And that hip region really is kind of your engine for hiking. So if we keep that area nice and strong and well balanced, your risk of injuries and issues like IT band problems, knee issues, low back problems, all those things start to dissipate because you've got a better balance and a much better foundation for strength. So take a look at some of these exercises, see if you can work them in. Make sure to let me know if you have any questions. Happy trails.